In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these built-in cabinets for my mudroom. And we're going to do it right now. In a previous video, I showed how I built this floating platform that's going to be a bench seat, but it's also going to double as the support, or part of the support, for some built-ins right here. I'm basically making this a big closet for coats and gloves and shoes and all that stuff. So I'm going to do a couple cabinet boxes here and up top, and I'm going to have a ton of storage here. And I'm not a cabinet maker, so I don't have a ton of fancy tools, and even some of the tools that I use in this video are optional. You can get this done with minimal tools, and hopefully this video will be a guide for you to get some ideas of how you could do this yourself. Since I already have my platform here, my boxes that I'm building are going to be very simple. The only difference between mine and the ones that you might be building is you might have to add a toe kick area to get the boxes off the ground so you can finish it nicely. So when I built my platform, I did all this measuring, and the way I want it is right here, this mark, 2 feet is basically what I want the cabinet size to be. This might change a little bit from 2 feet because I'm going to split this right down the middle. I want 2 pieces out of my plywood. They're 4 foot wide. So I'm gonna go right down the middle to get the most out of my material. And on the back, I am gonna do a 1/4 inch backer. I hold my tape in that corner. I'm gonna go to the other corner. This is 6'4". So half of that is 3'2", or 38 inches. So it's the same in the back. Let's check the front. Here, and that one is a little more, 6'4" and 1/8". So that'll work. And then, so that right there is about 1/4 shy. Let's do 37.5. That'll give me 1 inch in between the two, and that way I'm certain that I won't have to rebuild the boxes. For the height, I want to make these bottom cabinet boxes 58 inches, which is about right here. And my situation is probably going to be a lot different than yours, but some factors that might affect that, like in my case, where I want to hang coats, at what height, and how much room I want above that and below that, maybe what size exactly you want to do the top boxes, if you're doing crown molding up there, if you want the face frames to be even, or like in my case, I want this face frame to be up about here, because if you have stuff on the bench and you try and open the door, it'll just get in the way, and you know. So a lot of different factors, but in my case, I'm gonna build them at 58 inches. Another factor that might affect your measurements is your material and not wanting to waste it, because if I take a measurement of the overall length or height and width, that's 58. And right here, it's 37.5. So for instance, if I wanted to build this 60 inches, then I would need to get another sheet of plywood. And I don't want to do that. So that works out. Now let's rip these. I'm gonna rip these all at once, since that's gonna work out for me. Strapping down, kind of like that. Now right here, that's not so great, but this is technically the good side. So you just wanna be aware of that while you're cutting these and while you're building them. This, again, is the good side, but if I tip this down, you'll be able to see this is the not so great side. And I'm using 3/4 inch sanded plywood. I think that'll be a nice finish on the inside. I'm gonna line these up as close to even as it possibly can. Should all be the same. Now, make sure these are 48 inches, pretty much exactly. And then right here, make a mark, 24 inches, but then I'm also gonna wanna go back this way, 1.5 inches. I'll show you why in a second. Same thing over here. Now I have a scrap piece of plywood. I just basically want a straight edge, and I'm gonna put it right on my marks. This right here is my 24 inch mark, and the reason I marked this 1.5 inches over is so that I can use my circular saw because I don't have a track saw at this point. But if I hold this fence right here, I'll be right on that mark. But I want to be right in the middle of that mark, so I'm going to have to adjust accordingly. I'll put some clamps here to hold this in place. Double check this side, make sure my saw blade is half on. Perfect. And then I'm going to set the depth of the blade so that it just barely goes through all 3 sheets. And I also put the bad side up so I can step right on this and not worry about footprints. Now we can cut this. Perfect cut. Very good. These 2 boxes have identical measurements, so I'm going to make sure to cut them all the same. My sides are 58 inches and my bottoms are 37.5. That's the overall width. It's going to look a little something like this though. These are the side pieces, 58 inches, and then right here, I actually want this entire box width to be 37.5. So I need to take off 1.5 inches because 3/4 and 3/4 together is 1.5 inches. So I want this to be 36 inches, not 37.5. That is the total width. These are already sanded, but I'm going to run 120 grit over this with a random orbital just to get any of these imperfections off. Like right here is a good example. Just any of that stuff. And these aren't going to be perfect, but it's the inside of the cabinet, so it's not too big a deal. You can see the difference between this and this. And now I'm going to pick where my pieces are going based off of imperfections like this and factory cut versus my cut. My cut is smoother than the factory cut, so I'm going to put the factory cut in the back. And like this, for example, I'm going to put at the top because that'll be nice and hidden. So I'm going to call this top on the back side, on the bad side, and then this is the front. And this is bottom, front. I'm going to put one of these together before I go cutting everything. So I have a drop cloth laid down, and I'm just going to put these pieces so that the good side is where I want it, and this finished side is facing up. Grab that. This is the bottom, and that's the front. So I am going to glue these together, probably an unnecessary step, which reminds me, by the way, that how I'm building this is most certainly not the only way to do it. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. I have my brad nailer ready and my glue. I'm just going to glue this edge just a little bit. I don't have to go crazy with the glue. I can lift this side into place and line it up without making a mess. Make sure this is flush. And I'm going to use these handy little corner clamps. Just get that even. Put one right there just to hold that up. As long as the top is flush, I can start by nailing it up here. You can see that this plywood is bowed a little bit, so I'm just going to work that down. Just kick it out at the bottom a little bit. And just make sure these are flush. And If I had a clamp big enough, I would clamp this, but I do not. I want to just this square. I don't want to move this around too much while the glue dries. That's good. Front, just getting the dust off. This is a factory edge. I'm not happy about it, actually. Some nails in here. Double shot. Now, take this, have it marked. It's gonna go here, like this. Just do one side at a time. This side first. And this side. Take these off and just double check they're flush. This can still move around because they're brad nails. So this plywood is bowed, which is fine. I will fix that. Now I'm going to go around and pre-drill with a countersink and put some screws in here to tighten up stuff like this, how there's a gap there. Brad nails were really to just get this in place. And these hold that right together. And all this stuff is going to be hidden anyways. Just want these tight. Make sure this glue is wiped up before we move on. Now I'm gonna flip this over carefully, trying not to move it too much. I don't wanna mess with that glue, but it should be pretty tight with the screws. I'm gonna hit the back of this with a sander, the belt sander, to get these perfect. Something like that. I'm going to check this for square, which basically just means that the box is nice and square, and it's not like this or like this. Check for square. I'm going to hold my tape right on the corner like this, then go to this corner, and I'm going to see that this is 68 15/16. And then I'm going to hold my tape to this corner and do the same thing. Measure to the same place. And then you can see that this is 69. So this is a 1/16 of an inch out of square. And I'm gonna be okay with that. If I give it a little bump, there you go. Kind of split the difference. I'm gonna be putting a 1/4 inch back on this, but first I'm gonna put a couple of pieces of pine just to go across like this, and that will take the bow out of the top and the bottom, and I'll have something to attach to the wall. I'll be able to get cabinet screws into studs, and on the sides I can get into the studs on the side wall, and then I can attach these together in the middle. So I'm going to rip some pieces at 2 inch. I think that'd be good. Should be 36, right? So I'll put the better side on the inside. It's gonna be way in the back of the closet, so should be fine. Nice and tight. You can see that gap there is because this is bowed, so we're gonna take that out right now. I'll put a couple finish nails in here. Tight. This isn't going to take the bow out completely, but it will definitely help. Then I'll put some screws in. This is the bottom. I'm going to put one here too. I could tell that these bow in the middle, so we're gonna wanna fix that before we attach the back. And check this side and see it does the same thing. So I cut a piece of scrap wood, the same size as this. I'll temporarily just put it right here and see if that corrects it. It's a lot better. I'm gonna do 37 1/4. Make sure it works down here. That's a little less than I need. I just don't want it to overhang. 57 3/4. So then I'm not fighting this when I put the back on. I put another piece of strapping in here temporarily, and I got this side perfect. And this side's pretty good. Just a little tiny bit off there, but I'm good with it. So I can attach the back. Clean this off. And I'm gonna glue the back too. Get it where it needs to go. As long as it's covering and I have enough to staple to, just don't want it overhanging. I'm gonna use staples. These are 1 1/8 inches, maybe 1 inch. I'm gonna put a whole bunch of them in here. Now I'm gonna flip it again. I did check for square, by the way, before I stapled this. They're still good. I'll take these temporaries out. Don't need those anymore. And on the front of this, I am gonna put a nailer right here for my trim when I get to doing that. I'm gonna do a 4-inch piece because I wanna get that up and away from the bench. So I wanna give myself plenty to nail to when I put my face frame on here. I'm gonna do this one out of plywood because you're really gonna have to lean over to see it. So. As far as nailers go, I might need one on this side. Probably not gonna need it in the middle because I'll have this and the other cabinet to nail to. And I might need it at the top, but this is all I'm gonna do with this for now. I'm gonna go get it in place and see how it looks. Now I'm going to attempt to get this up here on my own. I would definitely suggest getting some help. But I don't have any friends, like I always say. So let's check it out. We have 12 3/4, a little shy. 12 3/4, a little shy right there. And since I built this platform nice and level, and I built this square, if I check it with a level, it should be plumb, and it should be level up here. Let's see. This is a little bowed, but we'll fix that. It's perfectly plumb, pretty good for a level, almost perfect. And right here, you go up just a little bit. I can shim the front. They're pretty tight at the bottom, but there's a gap at the top, and that is because this wall is a little out. Let's try and get that tight down there. Yeah, that's better. And when I put my face frame on here, it'll cover all that up. And we should have plenty of room. The next one is gonna be 37 1/2. We'll have 1 inch in between there. We'll check the top. We have 38 3/8, which is just 1/8 of an inch difference. So that's great. I can kind of attach it just the way it sits. In fact, I have to pull this out and mark the studs because I forgot. Ideally, I would put all 4 of these cabinet boxes in here, attach them together first, and then put them where they need to be. But I got a little excited, so I attached the first one, and really all I want to do is make sure it's plumb, it's level, I'm getting screws into studs, shimming where I have to, and then if I have to make micro adjustments when I put the other cabinets in, I can just loosen screws, add some shims, and should be good. That's good. That one's installed. Now I just need to build the other one. Same exact way. That was easier. Will it fit? Like a glove. Let's check it. It's gonna come out a little bit. It's gonna be even with this, first of all. Well, that's kind of what we planned. 1 inch here. And at the top, this is 7/8. I gotta raise this just a little bit, which is fine. I can take a screw out and adjust. Just a little bit. It's just a shim back there that I need to get above. There you go. Just gonna loosen this screw. This needs to go up a little bit. Try and pull it up and push that in at the same time. There we go. Going this way. Oh, I think 2.5 will work. I'll try and pull this over a little bit. Right in the corner. I'm gonna rip one 7/8 for the top. Okay, so I'll put this one in here. Do want to make it tight, not too tight. This side's nice and straight. Oh, the back's a little bigger. Looks like the back is actually 1 inch. Imagine that. This side's nice and straight. This one has the bow. So hopefully when I put this middle piece in, it will take the bow out. And I'll go from this side. I'm going just behind where the trim's gonna be so that these are hidden. Straighten these right out. So now I just got to do the same thing, just smaller boxes that go up on the top. And the only difference up there is I'm going to, with this plywood, instead of having the sides go to the side of that, I'm going to have the bottoms go all the way so they'll sit here instead of sitting here. Just make it a little more solid. And that's it. I'm going to go all the way up to the ceiling as far as I can, probably leave about 1/4 inch. Put them together and install them. I have to say, I am really happy with the way this came out. It actually came out better than I expected. And these are custom built cabinets for the size that I have here. And if I was to order these, it would be super expensive. This way, I saved a ton of money. So if you had to do something like this, I hope this video helps you do it yourself and save some money. Stay tuned for more videos on this project, including how I finish the bench seat, how I do my face frames, and how I build custom doors for these cabinets. They might be out already, and if they are, I'll leave a link in the description over to those videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Oh, you're rolling already.
Good. Oh wait, hold on, I'm blurry.
No, this is stupid.
Good job, Matt.
Thanks. I guess it doesn't matter. 2x4s would have been better, but I don't have any. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Time to go to McDonald's. I'm hungry. Did you hear Derek got engaged? I know. Really? Yeah, I know you don't know Derek, but he's a good guy.
That's exciting.
Yeah, unless he doesn't watch, then he's not a good guy. F him. I've protected the
garage floor.
Do I even need this clamp? That's square and that's square. Ah! Don't get glue everywhere. On this side, I'm gonna be doing the back. Excuse me. This or this, right?
And it's square.
Like a parallelogram.
Trapezoid.
No, parallelogram? Trapezoid? Trapezoid had the, who cares? You can cut that, right? It'll be fine. It'll be fine, Matt. Stop overthinking every single thing you do! Everything you do! I'm out of here. Idiot! Hello, Shim.
And I was gonna do a coloring video right when I get home.
Yeah?
So Mama is gonna print me out 4 pictures.
Okay.
And I'm gonna set the coloring video up.
Okay.
Dada, I have to go poop after cleaning my butt.
Yeah, sure can.